Hi friends. Friends, are you going through a difficult phase in your life? Things are not working out or nothing good is happening in your life. If you're going through such situations, I know that it is very difficult to trust God because you feel sometimes that God is just not present. He's forgotten you or he's abandoned you. And if you're feeling like this, please do watch this video. So friends, I want to share with you something which is there in the Bible, which is a wonderful story of Ruth. The book of Ruth, which is there in the Old Testament. Now, when I was reading this book, I never thought that Ruth was, the lessons which will be there in this book is so connected to me. So if I am sharing this with you so that it may be connected with your life as well, because the book, I thought Ruth is like the main character, and yes, I admire the character of Ruth, but there is this different character which is giving us a very different message in this book, and that is the character of Naomi. So Naomi was a lady who was full of happiness because she had her entire family with her, but due to certain because of the famine in her own land, that is holy land in Israel, she had to go to other foreign country, that is Moab. So she left her, she took her husband, her children, her sons, and then she went over there. And there we see that how everything, she loses everything in the foreign country, like husband dies, her both her sons are dead, and therefore when she's returning back, she is very bitter. She is not happy with her life, and she feels that God is against her. While she was going, she was happy, and she therefore calls her Naomi. Naomi means happiness. And but while she's coming, she calls herself bitter because she feels that now God is being very against me, and therefore things are not working out with me. But little did she know that God is working out in the sufferings also, and He's doing something good for her. So that is how what happens with us, friends. We are Naomi basically. We have lost many things in our life, and therefore we start doubting God at such times. We feel that our life is bitter and God is against us. But the story is not about faithfulness of Naomi, it is the story of faithfulness of God. That God was very faithful to Naomi, and therefore He restores back everything that Naomi lost. And what is that which Naomi lost, which He restores back? Naomi had lost the hope that her house, her ancestral house, will have a person who will be coming in her life, because all the males were lost in her life. Although her husband, her sons were not there, so house will not continue anymore. But we see that Ruth gets married. Ruth was her daughter-in-law who has accompanied her, and she gets married to Boaz. And when she gets married to Boaz, we see how God restores. And when they get a child, Naomi is very happy because she knows now this child is going to be in the ancestral line of David. Like Messiah is going to come from this lineage. So her house has not ended, her house still continues. So that is how God works. God is very faithful even if we are unfaithful. God is there, and the story tells us that we all are Naomi's and we lose things in our life, but God in His faithfulness gives everything and restores us back. So that is the story of Ruth, and it tells us that why we need to trust God. We need to trust God because God is going to be faithful at all times, and therefore we have to trust Him at all times, even if the season is not good, even if things are working very bad and you feel that the results are not coming. So friends, that is how God is expecting you and me to trust Him at all times. Because when we trust God, we believe that we don't look at the situation which is around us, because the situation, the environment will tell you that no, there is no hope for you. There is nothing which can happen. That is what was the case of Naomi. If you look very carefully, there was no male member in her family left. How will a house continue? It was a very difficult situation. But how God restored things for her. So friends, my experience is also like this, that I remember that one of my papers was too difficult. And the paper was so difficult that I had done my studies. I had gone and I had done my preparation, but the paper was not easy. the entire lot of my friends were telling that we all are going to fail because of this difficult paper. But I trusted God. I said God knew that we had prepared ourselves, and the paper was not good. And to our surprise, we saw that when the results were out, this was like something which God indicated, like He showed me, because I remember that I was traveling by my bus and I saw a glimpse of Jesus as if He's smiling at me. I was not praying that time and I felt He's there somewhere and He's looking at me and smiling. I told my friend that day there's something good which is going to take place. And we were very surprised because when the results were out, we all cleared that subject because we got 20 grace marks in that particular subject, and it was first time something done like this in our engineering college, in our boards basically, because they thought the paper is so difficult that we need to give marks to these children, and I knew that this is done by God. So we need to trust God even if the situation is very difficult and worst. And two verses I'll give you. In Psalm 62, it says, "Trust in Him at all times, O people of God. Pour out your heart before Him, because God is our refuge. He is our refuge." Romans 8:28 says that all things work for good for those who love God and are called according to His purpose. So we see that Naomi, things were bad in her life, but God turned it out for her good. So that is how, friends, even if you have messed up certain things, God will turn it out for your good. In Isaiah 26:3 we say, "Those of steadfast mind you keep in peace because they trust in you." So I've observed a lot of people who are there in the Lord and who trust God extremely. They are very peaceful. There's no stress at all. So the word of God says that the person who trusts in God have a deep peace. So you have to trust God even if things are not proper at this particular instant. And don't worry, God is a God of wonders, and He will do miracles in your life. That does not mean your road will be very easy, but He will surely deliver you, because those who trust in Him, He never disappoints them. If you have liked this video, do like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Bye bye.